What is it, Britt? What is it?
Saw something new.
You saw something new over there?
Like what? Hey guys, what is up? Of course, today I am back here with Miss Hailey Reese. I almost said Hailey Lane. And Miss
Loey Reese.
Lane. Oh my god, I just got so confused. You guys are most likely coming over from their channels where you saw that we went to explore a very scary and creepy cemetery. A lot more went down in the situation than we caught on camera, so I just kind of wanted to talk about it on my channel. That's kind of how our collabs work. We always go do the creepy stuff on your channels and then we tie it all together and talk about it on my channel.
I feel like it's almost like because you're the comedic relief of the group too, it's just like we can talk about like the scariest parts and know that like, I don't know, at the end you're gonna make us laugh by like farting too loud or something.
I'm glad that my lactose intolerance is funny to you guys. So for any of you guys who have watched any of our collabs or any of their videos and have no idea what this ghost equipment is, like I didn't, I just want to explain it to you guys really quick.
Start off with my little pal. His name is Boo Buddy. We have named him Gibby. He is my second Boo Buddy because my first magically went missing. He looks very, very innocent and very cute, but he's a very powerful and expensive piece of ghost hunting equipment. And his little backpack back here, he has a battery pack, and when I turn that on for you guys, you'll hear him.
His voice is creepy, honestly.
He's not creepy. Don't talk about my son like that.
I kind of don't like that he has a kitty voice. It does freak me out.
I do. Yeah, I understand. He can sense motion, he can sense temperature increase, and he can also hear. So he's really good for EVP
and
sessions.
Temperature decrease as well. Like Loey mentioned, if a specific location is known to occupy a child spirit, they tend to be really, really drawn to him and start to feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
The next piece of ghost hunting equipment is my personal favorite, and it is a spirit box, which essentially, the long story short version, this uses radio frequencies to communicate with the spirits, because as you guys know, spirits communicate with vibrations and frequencies. They are very, very energy driven, of course. So utilizing the radio frequencies, they are able to manipulate and utilize AM and FM to talk with us.
You're sure that it's not just radio voices coming through, like from radio stations?
Typically, when we utilize our spirit box, we'll turn it on and we'll have it sweep both AM and FM. And this is actually a dual radio spirit box, so we're able to use FM or AM or dual at the exact same time, and we can change the sweep rate between the two. Usually we will sweep rate at a reverse on one side and at a forward on the opposite side, so it's basically going backwards and forwards between AM and FM. To do that with any radio station, it would be a bunch of mumbo jumbo, so when you are communicating with spirits and actual words, sentences, and phrases are coming through, you can be sure that it's not just a radio transmission.
And then this is my favorite piece of equipment. It's just simply these little metal rods.
I think that the term is called dowsing.
Yeah.
So basically you hold them steady and they will move
like
because they don't like require a lot of effort to move. So you can see a little bit of effort moves them either way. So I feel like it's very easy for spirits to communicate, especially in areas where they might not understand technology. So we went to a cemetery that's been around since what, the 1700s, the 1600s?
Yeah, 17.
Super duper 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 old, and Hailey and I had a lot of creepy stuff happen. You were scared all day about the cemetery. I swear to you, you're never scared about anything. You like never get freaked out. It's always me who's like a chicken shit. You know
and me.
I mean?
I'm definitely somebody who like always encourages the group to like keep going and get the content and just like keep a white light and not be afraid. And for some reason, like mid-afternoon of the day that we were going to the cemetery, I just got this horrible feeling like I don't want to go. And I don't know why, because I'm not somebody who even ever looks at cemeteries as haunted, especially not cemeteries on hallowed grounds.
I think you even said like during the day before we went that you were scared and like you didn't have a good feeling.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. You guys were really adamant, you really wanted to go. You're like, we'll knock this video out, it'll be a nice easy one, like it's haunted, it's fun, whatever. So when we got out of the car, the first thing that we all noticed was that there was a light on around the church in front of the cemetery. And the moment that we stepped onto the grass of this like cemetery, the light turned off.
But it wasn't just like a little lantern or something. It was like a huge street light, like one of like the 25-foot tall ones.
Yeah.
Anytime we would talk about it, it would turn on and off.
It was on for a long period of time because we were sitting in the parking lot for so long and that light was on the whole time. But then the minute that we got onto the grounds and then after that, every single time that we talked about it, it would just shut off.
The scariest part for me with that light was when the light had finally turned on and we were debating going in, because I had this horrific feeling that I couldn't shake. I finally got like my courage back and I was like, oh, like it's on my video. I said, the light makes me feel so much better.
Yeah, it really did.
And it was off.
It changed everything.
And then the light turned off right when I finished saying that. And it felt as though there was something mocking me, being like, oh, you feel like the light makes you feel better? Well, then I'm gonna take it away. Initially, I had 2 negative feelings and 2 negative thoughts. The first was of like that underground cellar. Felt really sick about that.
You hated that.
I hated that. I didn't even want to go near Loey doing her spirit box session there. The second was at the very back of the cemetery. I felt like I do not want to go there. I wanted to get Loey's video done and I was like, I don't even want to do a part here. Like, I am so incredibly uncomfortable. And the entire time I'm thinking to myself, like, you're never afraid. You've been into like haunted jails on death row at 3 a.m. pretty much. Like, you weren't afraid. You were exploring the cells. Like, why are you afraid in an open cemetery? It didn't make sense to me.
That's the thing. I think a lot of our roles were reversed that day, because usually I'm so afraid, but I wasn't that afraid. And it's something that we actually talked about, because they sat me down and they were like, why do you do paranormal videos? And like, how do you just turn off the scary after?
It's like Andrew can do these videos and not be afraid the minute that it ends.
But like, I'm so scared. Like, I'm more scared than them while we're filming them, and then when it ends, it isn't. And that's not always the case. It's just, now that we're here, like in my hometown and doing it, I just feel more secure, I guess.
Yeah. That being said, I mean, everything that happened at that cemetery was insane. We went over to the cellar and from the spirit box came, "He lives," when I asked about why you were afraid of that cellar. That was the first thing that was really weird. And we actually have some conclusions about the church that we were at. So many other things came through, very creepy things that I've said in my video that I don't even want to repeat what I thought I heard through the spirit box.
I know, I'll say it out loud because I am no longer afraid of anything. It was just like a split second of like apprehension. I heard it say 666. I'm pretty sure you guys heard it in the video as well. That was the minute that I started to feel sick, and off camera, what you guys didn't see was I was repeating, I don't understand. These are hallowed grounds. These are church grounds. These are sacred grounds. Like, there's light, there's love. Like, how is it possible? I couldn't explain it.
That's what you were saying. You kept on saying, like, I can't understand why I feel like this.
As we're on those steps, just moments after I heard these things, and Loey heard, and we all heard these things coming out, the spirit box started saying Andrew's name. And Andrew says, out of nowhere, were you saying my name?
Like, were you saying, hi, Andrew? It's
and I was filming. I was the one filming. Right when it says yes, the camera cut out and said Loey no longer had any space to film.
Which didn't make any sense because I had like it was so many minutes that I had left to film. I had seen it on my camera. My camera has never filled up faster than it was supposed to before. But for some reason at that moment, the memory card filled up. I deleted footage and it said I had more footage left on the camera than I had even deleted. So it didn't make any sense. It just stopped filming right when the spirit box confirmed, yep, that it had said Andrew's name.
And then as she was freaking out about her camera like breaking, she looked at the viewfinder and it seemed like every single second another megapixel was dropping. Like,
it was like there were dead pixels in my camera.
Like, just one by one.
Even crazier, you guys, is the fact that there's like only 2 now.
It was like 6, 7, 8 that I had. Like, it was like every second I was dropping another pixel, my camera was like just slowly dying, basically.
You literally said, you were like, I'm like, should I shut it off? I don't want my camera to break.
She was asking me, Hailey, is this thing gonna break my camera? Like, should we leave?
Yeah.
And at this time, I'm still trying to wrap my head around how is it possible that something could even say the numbers in a sequence on hallowed grounds? So around this time, I turned to them and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna be scared by this anymore. We are on hallowed grounds. God is good. Like, God is great. God is here. Let's go to the back of the cemetery. I'm gonna get my content. So we started heading back and I was no longer looking to the areas that I felt uncomfortable. I was living in the moment, and that is when the spirit box said in the scariest voice, enter.
Yeah.
To backtrack a bit, Andrew had seen basically something white and like smoky, like walking down by these tombstones. And it was in one of our videos or both of our videos?
Yeah, no, it was literally just a mist. It had no form or anything, but it was like a very concentrated white mist.
So he saw it, and then I was like, okay, let's walk down there. I saw this tiny little gravestone, and I said, oh, like my heart broke to see it. And as I approached closer to it, it almost felt like it was like pulling me in, and that's when the spirit box said enter in that really deep, like freaky voice, and that was when we all stopped and just stared at each other.
Which is so terrifying because this entire time I kept hearing my spirit guides and like my guardian angels saying like, just don't go back to the back of the cemetery. Like just stay where you feel comfortable and you feel safe. And right in this moment, Andrew and Loey turned their attention to the right corner of the back of the cemetery after it had already tried to lure Loey in and say enter. And I'm just gonna let you guys explain what you saw because I refused to look.
That was the point where we looked to the back right of the cemetery, and I noticed it first and then you saw it after me. It looked, I can't explain it. It basically looked like every ghost in a bad horror movie that
like typical, very typical.
Like almost like something with like a sheet over it. And I was staring at it for, I mean, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Just trying to understand what it was. And I thought, of course, this has to be a tombstone or something. There was this random light on it, and I couldn't figure out where the light source was coming from. I'm looking everywhere trying to figure out where this light source is coming from. You and I have kind of seen the cemetery before, and we haven't done anything in it, but I was thinking to myself, this is really strange. So I'm staring at it, and I get this really unnerving feeling about it. Like, I want to see what it is, but at the same time, I don't want to keep looking at it because I feel like it's going to start moving. And I tell you, like, look at that thing. What is that? And then you saw it.
I already saw it before you had pointed it out. And like, we both saw it. You definitely saw it first. Yeah. Before we even talked about it, like, it was kind of like just like an understanding that we both saw it. It was basically just like a blank head and shoulders. And it was just like white, as if a sheet was
looked like it was the height of a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But where like it really started to take a turn where I was like, I need to get the heck out of here, we need to leave, was I had this really bad feeling about looking at it. And they keep saying, Hailey, like, look at this. Like
we're trying to understand what it is.
About 1 second later, the spirit box says something along the lines of, look at it. And right around this time, Loey starts freaking out because she basically starts to see something manifesting.
In the moment, I was trying to be so calm. I think I even said, I see a full body apparition forming. We gotta go.
That's exactly
I was trying so hard to be chill because I was gonna start screaming.
I ran.
Thank God you walked slowly for me because I couldn't even run. Like, my legs felt like they were made of lead. It basically looked like a goblin. It was like a big pointy chin, and like the head was like kind of flattened out, and it was like forming in the darkness. And here's the thing, was that, you know when you see, like, let's say you're in the middle of the night and you see your jacket on a chair and it looks like a monster, and you just give your eyes a second to like adjust, and then you see what it really is. I was like, that must be a tree, and I'm looking and I realize, no, it's a blank space. There's nothing over there.
I've only ever ran one other time, down in the Ottawa jail hospital, and we snuck onto death row in the middle of the night, and we'd explored for a long span of time. And when we went to the one corner, I heard someone scream like violently, and I ran. And that's the only other time I've ever ran. I'm not a runner. I like to face my fears. I like to stand up in the name of light and love. I like to not be afraid. And in this moment, I ran. And the reason that I ran is because I had been feeling so scared all day about this. And like, that's not like me. Like, anytime I ever get freaked out, it's in the moment. It's never like leading up to it. I felt sick about going into the back of the cemetery. I felt like whatever was there was making some sort of personal attack on my life. I'm getting the heck out of here. Not worth the video, not worth it. I'm out.
Seeing Hailey run was really scary because she's usually the person that I, and you too, look at to like help us through the situation and be like, Hailey, is everything okay? She's usually that person.
Everyone like, yeah guys, we're fine. Put a white light around you. Like, I never panic, never.
Seeing her run was really scary.
Like, traumatizing, honestly.
I just felt so sick about it. And then as we're getting off of the property, I'm literally saying out loud, these are hallowed grounds. Like, what is this? And they get off the property, and as we go to walk back to the car, we all look back, and that white thing that I had seen too didn't exist.
It was completely and totally gone in the back corner of the cemetery. It just wasn't there. So there's no way it was like a trick of the light. There's no way it was just a tombstone with a light on it. It didn't exist.
So as we get off the property, we all get into the car, and Loey and I are really scared by this situation. And Andrew just seems to like flick it off and feel so much better.
Totally fine.
Like, sometimes I just have to.
I remember we were driving up these streets. There was a church to the right that had a bunch of lights shining on it, and it was like brand new, and it was so nice looking. And bear in mind, I'm still considering how in the heck is something dark, even remotely dark, on hallowed ground?
She kept on asking that, like seriously.
Like, it was messing with my head. And Andrew points to this church out of nowhere and goes, see, I'd feel more scared at a church like this than that last one. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, like this is the same church, but like they just rebuilt it like off the property. And I looked at him and I was like, wait, so that church that we were just at with the cemetery is no longer an active church. It's like emptied with all of the things inside of it, and they took the name of that church and rebuilt a different church, and that's not a church anymore.
They just kept it because it was historical, so they kept the building up.
And then all at once, it hit me that that's how something negative could be there, because
Yeah,
the crosses were gone, the altars were gone, the church was emptied, it was just a shell of what it used to be, and the name even had been rebuilt, like up the street, and it was no longer like hollowed grounds like that. And it just sent chills like up my entire body, because the entire, oh, I have goosebumps.
Because you called it, you knew it.
I knew it. I said it's impossible. Like there's no way that on church grounds, on hallowed grounds, something could be reiterating 666.
Yeah.
Or saying the word Satan. There's no way. Like God is too powerful. God rules. Like there's no way. And it messed with me so much, but I was so glad to have at least had that closure.
Yeah.
Then it just traumatized you. Like, what were we talking to?
I don't want to know the answer to that.
I'm totally aware we sound insane.
Yeah.
I am totally aware. But I will say, you guys, like, this is the first situation I have ever went into in my entire life where for a minute I almost like let darkness think I was afraid.
So yeah, that is the story of the time we went ghost hunting in a cemetery. If you guys want to see the footage, be sure to go over to Loey's channel and Hailey's channel to check those videos out.
I'm just a chicken in mine.
It is really creepy though. Like, I guarantee you guys are gonna get the weird feelings too. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe. That would mean the world to me. And yeah, until next week.
We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.